I'd recently arrived in Syracuse from Ireland, and I remember the morning I got a telephone call from a classmate of mine living in the same building, and we put on the television, and of course, as I sat there as a newcomer to this country, sitting beside an American who's obviously going to be feeling very emotional, I didn't know whether I should be silent or whether I should console him or whether I should express my condolences. It was a very odd feeling.
It felt like time just stopped for a second. All our life before 9/11 was suspended in the air. I had to call my family in the southern part of Russia. They were mourning the loss of life in New York City. I was mourning the loss of life yet to come all over the world after 9/11. Passion for documentary filmmaking and Syracuse University brought us together.
In order to document the subtle changes in people's lives, we felt it was important for us to experience ground zero.
You want to go with us, baby? To the airport?
All mixed up.
Samantha?
On September 11th, I just got like the inspiration to paint the American flag, and I don't know. I felt sad for the people that died and stuff.
Samantha, you want just turkey, no lettuce and stuff, right?
The first day that Charlotte had to go to U.S. Air after Samantha was born, she was walking down the steps. She had Samantha in her arms in the kitchen, and she handed me Samantha. And she says, "You be good to her." And I said, "I promise." I said, I would. No problem, honey.
Samantha, go with us to the airport?
All right.
2 weeks after the attacks, U.S. Airways told us that they were closing the Syracuse office. It was customer service. They offered us a job, though, that we could transfer to Pittsburgh or Orlando. We decided just to take furlough for now. And yesterday, as a matter of fact, was my last paycheck.
It's not only a blow to like our lifestyle financially, it's just like she dedicated herself to that job and gave her 110%, and in a moment's notice it was just gone. So it's just like those towers came back into our heads again, you know.
My last check.
Here we go, honey. She's over 50 years old now, and to start a career again like that, it's just like, I think it took the wind out of her sails.
I got my first one, and now I got my last one.
Well, it looks like a good movie.
Huh?
It looks like a good movie.
It doesn't start till 7:30. And it's school.
My husband, pretty much, he was staying home and taking care of our daughter while I worked. He's out working now. So he'll come home and I've cooked something, and, you know, he may say a few things about the way I cook, but, you know, I'm just learning again.
Yeah, the first couple of weeks of her cooking was kind of tough because I couldn't let go of my 12 years of cooking for the family, and I had so many recipes in my head, this and that. So Charlotte that's one of the major changes. She's cooking, and she's doing real good, bless her heart. So, you know, and then Samantha gets to spend more time with Mom and less with me.
My mom, she's just been fun to hang around with after school. When I get home, she'll be there to greet me when I get off the bus.
Oh, Sam, I am. Very nice.
Creators of green eggs and go upstairs and watch Pearl Harbor.
Oh. Well, you can bring it on down here.
Okay. But I like my chairs up here.
Our decisions have been around her, Manny staying home, and you know, staying here. We like this place, and we've done a lot to it in 20 years. It's our own personality here, and Samantha loves it. Her personality's here. Since this September 11th, things have been switched around, but we're still trying to keep her life pretty much the way it is. And I think we're going to stick to it, too.
When I look at the story of the family, I feel like I'm reminded about my own family, because my own family is very far, but it's still extremely important in my life, and any changes can be drastic and they can be very dramatic, but somehow families find the way to deal with those changes. I know that that's how my family probably feels about me being in the United States and them being in the southern part of Russia.
I didn't really think that September 11th had had an effect on me until, for a while, you know, in many ways. I used to have a nice picture in here, if I can find it. There was a little bit of a concern, I think, because I'm Muslim, but I didn't really think about it that much. Overall, in my life, I've been able to do whatever I wanted to do, and I've never felt limited because of, you know, the way I'm dressed or my religion or anything like that. I may have felt unsafe, maybe around a person or two here or there, but never like from my own government or from law enforcement. Like, I've never had anything like that. So I always felt that, okay, if I have had an incident with an organization or something, I can always resort to the government to help me out. And then I lost my date book, and I didn't even know that I had lost it. Then the FBI calls. They said, we have your date book. I said, September 11th, I'm a Muslim, FBI, it must be something. And I said, well, may I ask why you have my date book? And they said, well, because somebody must have turned it in because they were worried about September 11th maybe, or something like that. That's what they said. I got there, and then they gave me my date book, and then they showed me the two things that they thought maybe the person who had turned it in maybe was concerned about. And the first thing was I had a September 10th stock quote for American Airlines. And I didn't bother to explain it to the FBI because I didn't think it was their concern. But the reason I had that quote was because my dad is interested in economics, and you know, he's interested in investing and all of that, and he wanted to look at the pre-September 11th, post-September 11th, the stock fluctuations. So I had it, and it was right on September 11th because I looked it up that week, and then I just took it out because I said, you know what, if I lose my date book again, then I'm going to be in big trouble. And then the other thing was an email that I had sent out. After September 11th, I was sending out some thoughtful emails to people just to get them to look at things from a Muslim point of view, you know, and because Muslims have been affected, Muslims have lost their lives, and Afghanis are suffering, and there's so many things that are going on. So I just wanted everybody to look at it from another point of view, just to be able to see a different picture of this whole incident. And I was very careful. I scanned them out. Some of them, they, you know, didn't have really a lot of appropriate things. They may have had a quote or two that were really good. So anyway, there was this one email, and it had an excerpt which was really nice, but I didn't read the rest of it. I just looked at it very quickly and I emailed it out. And after that, I emailed to 2 lists. So when I was going to email it out the second time, I actually read it. And it was it was really inappropriate, and it had a lot of racist remarks, and it was just really bad. And I was like, oh my goodness. So then I emailed everybody and I said, I'm so sorry I sent it out. It was a total mistake, you know. Okay, well, anyway, whoever the FBI contacted or whatever it was actually submitted that email to the FBI and did not even bother to send my apology. And really, I felt like a grape, you know, in the inner gears of a clock. Like I could be squished and nobody would ever know, and it would just be like my whole experience and my whole life would be just so inconsequential.
Lashin's experiences resonated with me as a young female who has to constantly be confronted with the issues of power. It made me question the notion of civil liberties in the United States.
So this is New York. Since I put it out, we've performed it at every show. And we're going to continue to perform it until it's not relevant anymore. But it is still relevant, and I think it's going to be relevant for a long time. I've actually been accused of I try to cash in on a tragedy. I don't cash in on shit. It was out of genuine interest in spreading a message.
New York City, is you with me? You don't have to be.
I eventually needed to go to New York City because I needed more information that was being given to me. I was hearing the same story over and over and over, yet I wasn't being told anything. There's a lot of news reporters that are like, this is our time, this is our moment. Get the camera on me, I have worded it perfectly. This is going down in the history books. I was like, I was going crazy. It was just like such an intense time. I had all these quotes from news reporters on TV, and I was like, holy shit. Wheelchair obstruction or stairway obstruction rhymes with, and this was an actual line, the commercial aviation used as instruments of destruction. Like that was an actual quote, and then the next line was an actual quote, and it rhymed with that. I was like, oh my god, this whole song is going to be news report quotes that are all going to rhyme. It's going to be a fucking perfect. I've got explicit images to present to impressionable American kids, and it's time to show this world how big our edifice is. That's exactly what they attacked when a typically dark-skinned Disney villain used civilians against civilians and charged the Trojan horses into our buildings. Using commercial aviation as instruments of destruction, pregnant women couldn't protect their children. Wheelchairs were stairway obstructions. Now I have to backpedal from the shower of glass and metal, wondering how after it settles we'll find who provided power to radical rebels. The melting pot seems to be calling the kettle black when it boils over, but only on our own soil, so the little boy holds a toy soldier and waits for the suit and tie to come home. We won't wait till he's older before we destroy hopes for a colder war to end. Get a close-up of his head. Well, some people don't dig the song. Some people don't feel like it's very American. And they happen to think of themselves as being very American. So the best way to challenge things like that is to be American about it and fight me. But the love fist is much mightier than the hate fist. So I only fight with my love fist. I would never make a song that everybody agreed with, because how do you do that? You know, you do that by making songs that don't say anything. And if no one's challenged in any way possible, there's no way you can be misinterpreted, and there's no way anyone could build up enough emotions to react. They scarred our financial state, charred our landscape. Can you count how many times so far I ran back the same damn tape while a cameraman creates news and shoves it down our throats on the West Bank with a 10-second clip put on constant loop to provoke U.S. angst? Get your tanks, load your guns, hold your sons in a family huddle, because even if we win this tug of war and even the score, humanity struggles. There's desperate need of blood for what's been uncovered under the rubble. Some of them dug for answers in the mess. The rest were looking for trouble. I have another song I'm waiting to release. It's about genetic cloning and how once we do finally find Bin Laden, the ever elusive, we're going to clone him over and over and over and kill him a whole bunch of times. Well, that's my fantasy in my new song, which will appease these people who weren't so happy about the other version of my Patriot song.
The makeshift, the patriot, the flag shot is out of stock in 2002. Don't wave your rights with your flag, scared. so scared, stay scared.
For me, Sage's story was an inspiration because he was willing to voice his own opinions and, you know, go against the grain, go against the mainstream ideas about what was happening and what we were all seeing and what we were all experiencing.
The city is covered in inches of muck. I see some other pictures of victims are up. Grieving mothers are thinking their children are stuck. Leaping mothers are making decisions to jump while holding hands to escape the brutal heat, sometimes in groups of 3. The fallout was far beyond the toxic clouds where people look like debris. But all they saw after all was said, beyond the talking heads, was the bloody dust with legs looking like the walking dead, calling for meds. But all the hospitals are overwhelmed. Volunteers need to go the hell home. Moments of silence for firefighters were interrupted by cell phones. Who's gonna make that call to increase an unknown death toll? It's the one we rally behind. He's got a megaphone, promising to make heads roll. We cheer him on, but asbestos is affecting our breath control. The less we know, the more they fabricate, the easier it is to sell souls.
I certainly felt a connection with the things that people had left, but at the same time, you still have people making money out of what's happened. You see the stalls where they're selling photographs, and you know that's just really difficult to take that in, and just the intensity of the place as well. And it's really sad that it's almost become a tourist destination.
Are we ready to do it?
Yeah, will you be ready to whip out the white piece of paper when we get in there? Because it'll probably be different light.
You have to get it tomorrow. I know my sister is living tomorrow. And you have to get the tickets tomorrow. Let me see the line. She gave you that. That's right. Come on out, folks.
I wish I had the same freedoms that I used to have before September 11th. My emotions, my experiences are most important to me, of course, you know, and they definitely have been affected and changed, and my feelings and everything have been affected, you know, and that's what counts to me personally.
We were ready to settle down and take life the way it was going until September 11th. And that kind of made us, everybody, the whole world, rethink the way things were going. I think we'll be able to get through this, and I plan on it.
And that's one of the reasons I made the song, was to remember how extreme it was at the time it happened. I'm trying to figure out still what's the right way to deal with it all, and how to relay this information to everybody else, but at the same time I can't let it consume me.
When I saw the letters and cards and photographs and things that people had left at the railings, that to me meant more than the hole in the ground.
The hole in the ground, to me it looked like a wand. And it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I guess some time has passed to make it look smaller.
We're selling and addictive 24-hour candlelight vigils in TVs. Freedom will be defended at the cost of civil liberties. The viewers are glued to television screens, stuck, cause lots of things seem too sick. I use opportunities to pluck heartstrings for theme music. I show you which culture to pump your fist at, which foot is right to kiss. We don't really know who the culprit is yet, but he looks like this. We know who the heroes are, they're not the xenophobes who act hard. We taught that dog to squat, how dare he do that shit in our own backyard. They happen to scar our financial state and char our landscape. Can you count how many times so far I ran back the same damn tape? While the cameraman creates news and shoves it down our throats on the West Bank with a 10-second clip put on constant loop to provoke US angst. So get your tanks and load your guns and hold your sons in a family huddle, cause even if we win this tug of war and even the score, humanity struggles. There's a need of blood for what's been uncovered under the rubble. Some of them dug for answers in the mess, but the rest were looking for trouble. Makeshift patriot, the flag shop is out of stock. I hang myself at half-mast. Makeshift patriot, the flag shop is out of stock. I hang myself at half-mast.